just address the president's comments yesterday, referring to Trump supporter as garbage.
A couple of things. So just to clarify, he was not calling Trump supporters garbage.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
Which is why this is why he wanted to make sure that we put out a statement that clarified what he meant and what he was trying to say.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
And so just want to make that very clear for folks who are watching. And I just want to read that out to folks. So he was regarding to the comedian, and I quote, "I referred to the hateful rhetoric about Puerto Rico spewed by Trump's supporter at his Madison Square Garden rally as garbage, which is the only word I can think of to describe it. His demonization of Latinos is unconscionable. That's all I meant to say. The comments at the rally don't reflect who we are as a nation." And to your question, your other question that you asked, no, he does not view Trump supporters or anybody who supports Trump as garbage. That is not what he views.
The evidence is right there, guys. She can go on Twitter and look for the clip. It's like these people lie to the American people for a living. And it's funny because this entire idea from the president has now overshadowed the Puerto Rico joke from Trump's rally, a joke that Trump didn't even say. But President Joe Biden goes out and calls half the country as garbage, and we're supposed to be okay with it? Why is he allowed to take back what he said? Because you're never going to see Trump given the same privilege. The conclusion that many have at this point is that anything that Trump says will always be taken out of context. Meanwhile, the president calls Trump supporters garbage, and it's a misunderstanding. You see how biased this can be here? Now, the funny thing is, there are more people offended by his garbage comment compared to that of the comedian who spoke at Trump's rally. Watch.
Do you want to know the people that are mostly offended by this comment? Non-Puerto Ricans, people who don't live there, and people who have never been there before in their lives. Liberals are so desperate right now that they want this to be the next major headline when, one, Trump didn't say it, two, the man was a comedian, but three, you know why? Because it brings fucking attention to the last 3.5, almost 4 years that Kamala Harris was in office and did nothing to help the people of Puerto Rico. What this did is it shined light on the issues in Puerto Rico. Okay, there is so much pollution there washed up on these beaches, and the people of Puerto Rico are miserable and they can't get any help from this administration.
Now, you might think that there's at least a few who changed their minds after this joke, but we can't forget that the theme of this year's election is change, meaning the policy beats out feelings. And that's why a lot of people still support Donald Trump despite what happened with that comedian. Watch.
What do you think about what took place at his rally at MSG last night?
I think it was definitely poor timing. It was absolutely bad timing. I was happy his campaign said something immediately. I do think he needs to address it. I think the reality is there's several landfills in Puerto Rico that are taking over the water system, being poured into the oceans, and really polluting and damaging the island. That could have been what he was referencing to, but it was just poor time and just poor choice of words. That I think that folks that are on the fence really led them away from Trump at this time. So I think that's why strategically he needs to address it.
Did it at all make you question your support for him?
No, it didn't at all.
Now, it also didn't discourage colleagues of Donald Trump who also happen to be Puerto Rican. Even though we're hearing from mainstream media that the former president is now hated by the entirety of Puerto Rico, which is not true, a narrative that's not sitting well with many who still support Trump. Check this out.
We need the leadership of Donald J. Trump as our commander-in-chief, and Dave McCormick for a renewed leadership in the United States Senate. Pennsylvanians, American all, a better future is in your hands. Your vote is the most powerful tool you have to bring about change. And for Latinos, dale a Trump la fuerza de tu voto. For those reasons, among many others, I strongly and fully support and endorse Donald J. Trump to be our 47th president. to make America great again. And of course, to make Puerto Rico shine again.
Now, to translate her message for Latinos, she says they shouldn't give Trump the force of your vote. But this isn't being focused on by mainstream media. They want you to believe that Trump is getting so much backlash from this one joke. That's what they want you to think. It's honestly crazy to think that they're focused on that instead of President Joe Biden calling Americans as garbage. But there's a reason as to why they're trying to create this much outrage, to create a movement, so to speak. And it's painfully obvious once you're reading between the lines. This is because of Pennsylvania, which holds the third largest Puerto Rican population in the country. Now, we're hearing about all these different protests, but fail to see how many people are actually there. Check this out.
A couple of weeks ago, he's traveling around Hispanic neighborhoods and stuff like that, trying to gain the confidence of Latinos, but then he turns around and insults them.
Now, first off, they were talking about immigrants, not Puerto Ricans, so I'm not really sure what that's about. The second clip made more sense, but it's just one guy. And again, Donald Trump didn't make the joke. He actually distanced himself from it, which is opposite compared to the camera angles that we saw of the protests. The shots were so close because they knew that this crowd would look so small if they zoomed out. So this fake anger that they were trying to build up, it just isn't even working. Meanwhile, you got Donald Trump's campaign zeroing in on President Joe Biden's comment on the American people. He left his suit jacket at home and decided to wear something a little bit more colorful. Watch.
250 million people are not garbage. I can tell you who the real garbage is, but we won't say that. How do you like my garbage truck? This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden. I love Puerto Rico, and Puerto Rico loves me. I don't know anything about a comedian. I love Puerto Rico. Nobody's done more for Puerto Rico than me.
We can't just cover this story without hearing what Vice President Kamala Harris has to say about Joe Biden's comments. But just like most of her interviews, she again fails to answer the question. Watch.
Do you sympathize with any voters who do feel offended by or insulted by the garbage comments?
I am running for president of the United States. I will be traveling to 3 states today to do what I have been doing throughout, which is talking with the American people about the fact that, first of all, I get it in terms of the concerns they have about challenges like the price of groceries.
He gave her a chance to say that half of the country isn't garbage, and she decided not to say it. Does this mean that she also holds the same opinion about Trump supporters, that Trump supporters are garbage too? He said that, very simply, Kamala Harris is the worst vice president in history. Her message to Americans is all division and hate. He compared it to his own message, which is about saving our economy, securing our border, and bringing together the greatest and broadest coalition in American history. Our former president also said that Kamala is a campaign of demoralization and really a campaign of destruction. He called the vice president a vessel for a very big, powerful party with smart people who he said are vicious and that perhaps even try to destroy our country. He pointed out that after 2 assassination attempts in just over 3 months, her lies and her slanders are very shameful and really inexcusable. Just look at what the mainstream media and Kamala Harris's allies did to Donald Trump's Madison Square Garden mega rally. They claimed it was a Nazi rally at the famous venue in the 1930s, despite an abundance of Jewish attendees and Israeli flags. And what makes it so different from Democrats, including former President Bill Clinton, holding events at this famed arena? I mean, the freaking New York Knicks play their home games at Madison Square Garden every time. I mean, come on. Will Hillary and the Democrats call the NBA team, the New York Knicks, Nazis too? It's just ridiculous, right? It's like they're calling all the thousands of genuine Trump supporters Nazis. MSNBC, for one, put a spotlight on the venue where a pro-Nazi rally occurred in 1939, even though Madison Square Garden has been rebuilt several times and the current edition wasn't even completed until 1969, 30 years later. The network even declared that Donald Trump's event was particularly chilling because it was held in the same arena that once hosted supporters of of a different fascist leader, Adolf Hitler. I mean, then President Franklin D. Roosevelt held an event at Madison Square Garden the year after the infamous 1939 event. But nope, when Trump does it, it's fascism. It's just plain ridiculous. Or to put it in Democrats' words, it's weird with a capital W. As retired NYPD Inspector Paul Morrow pointed out, for a Nazi rally, there were an awful lot of Israeli flags in the building. Stop Anti-Semitism founder and executive director Leora Rez even had to speak up about it, saying that equating either presidential nominee or their supporters to the Nazi regime is a dangerous trivialization of the real horrors committed by Hitler. It dishonors the millions who were murdered and the brave who fought to end his tyranny. Former White House press secretary Ari Fleischer, whose relatives actually died during the Holocaust, said Democrats making Nazi comparisons their closing argument in the election, it's the dumbest thing they could do politically. Now, this was while X received 706.2 million visits last month. Meanwhile, Truth Social received 13.5. So yeah, what we've got here are traders betting hard on Donald Trump winning the November 5th election. And considering how Donald Trump owns 57% of the company, his stake is now worth almost $4 billion. And Musk isn't seeing this as a loss. In fact, the billionaire is still one of Donald Trump's most ardent supporters of his re-election bid. Elon Musk officially endorsed Donald Trump over the summer when the 45th president survived the first assassination attempt of his life this election cycle and has since joined the campaign trail in the key battleground state of Pennsylvania to rally support and encourage people to vote. He's also not afraid to put his money where his mouth is. Along with making appearances at rallies and leading town halls in support for Donald Trump, Elon Musk has contributed more than $70 million to the campaign. I mean, can you imagine those kinds of numbers and what they're doing for Trump's campaign? Again, guys, the Trump effect is now in action. Further proof of Elon Musk's impact, Kamala Harris trying to use the billionaire against Donald Trump. You see, they're not just going up against Trump anymore. They've upped their attacks and they're now including ads targeting the Tesla and SpaceX owner. The top super PAC supporting Kamala Harris, Future Forward USA Action, produced the two ads that were in the heaviest rotation among all ads on swing state screens in the first 3 weeks of October. One of the ads features a shot of Elon Musk in a tuxedo as a Pennsylvania voter says, the 1% don't serve anybody but themselves. I don't know, giving away $1 million a day to average Americans certainly sounds like the 1% are actually hooking up the non-1%. What do y'all think though? They're also trying to discredit Elon Musk like they've been doing to Donald Trump. The idea, according to Evan Roth Smith, a left-leaning pollster, is to try to portray Trump as being a stooge for the wealthy and corporate America, as if people would actually believe that. This is coming from a left-leaning pollster, mind you. In fact, they're bankrolling this big time as a top-performing message for Democrats among swing state voters and a potential issue that dislodges some of these Nikki Haley Republicans who are skeptical of his tax policy. But really, the truth is, they're just scared. No less than Pennsylvania Democratic Senator John Fetterman, who supports Kamala Harris and won a hard-fought contest in the Commonwealth 2 years ago, underlined that Elon Musk has a lot of appeal. He describes Elon Musk as Tony Stark's, aka Iron Man, to a lot of people. And for the independent-minded senator, that's really going to matter. While Trump is leading this campaign of unity and making America great again, Kamala Harris continues to run what Trump described as a campaign of absolute hate.
Democratic Governor Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania, the state's former attorney general, he expressed that concern about the plan previously, saying, quote, I think there are real questions with how he is spending money in this race, how the dark money is flowing, not just into Pennsylvania, but apparently now into the pockets of Pennsylvanians. And Elon Musk is a big supporter of former President Trump. In fact, speaking at his Madison Square rally yesterday in New York City. But we did want to share the very latest in breaking news, as we have learned that the Philadelphia District Attorney has now sued Elon Musk's super PAC to stop giving voters $1 million. And once again, that is just part of that statement that the DA's office has issued on their website, saying, quote, today, the Philadelphia DA filed a civil legal action under Pennsylvania law. This civil action neither precludes nor requires potential future action under Pennsylvania criminal law. The Philadelphia DA will litigate the factual allegations and legal arguments that underlie today's filing on the record and in the court.
So the guy's giving away $1 million and they stop him? Like, who freaking does that? And since when is it illegal to give away your money? Doesn't Philadelphia have a crime and drug problem to worry about? Does that mean that's solved and this is the DA, which is looking over things because they have nothing else to do with their time? I mean, seriously, guys, no wonder Donald Trump says Kamala Harris runs a campaign of absolute hate.
And she's running on a campaign of demoralization and really a campaign of destruction. But really, perhaps more than anything else, it's a campaign of hate. It's a campaign of absolute hate. And, you know, I said yesterday that she's a vessel. She is a vessel. It's a very big, powerful party with smart people. I have to be smart. But it's vicious. They're vicious, and they're perhaps even trying to destroy our country. Because who would want open borders where millions of people can flow in from prisons and from gangs, the worst gang members anywhere in the world? Who would want this for our country? Who would want all of these transgender operations all over the place, like at will? Even if you're in detention, I want a transgender. These are things she stood for. Who wants to defund the police? She's wanted her whole career to defund the police. She only changed recently. She changed on 15 different items. Fracking. She was against fracking at the highest level. Wouldn't even think about it. Now all of a sudden, oh, I'd like fracking very much. But they change after the election in about 2 minutes, and I think Pennsylvania understands that. After 2 assassination attempts in just over 3 months, her lies and her slanders are very shameful and really inexcusable. And I can say that if I were president and somebody was being threatened, openly threatened like they've threatened me, I would say, if you do that, even if this was an opponent who I disliked, if you do that, we will obliterate your entire country, and it would all stop. But they wouldn't make that statement. They won't make that statement. And essentially, that statement has been made by other presidents, even concerning their opponents, as you know.
I mean, just look at what they're doing in Philadelphia. Democratic Philadelphia District Attorney Larry Krasner, he filed a lawsuit attempting to stop the $1 million giveaway to swing state voters. Retiring President Joe Biden ripped billionaire Elon Musk for it, and he also said that it's totally inappropriate. Sounds like he's totally just hating on Elon Musk, if you ask me. So instead of celebrating the new voter engagement initiative by Musk-backed America PAC, Krasner says in his lawsuit that Musk must be stopped immediately before the upcoming presidential election on November 5th. Now, Elon Musk isn't forcing anybody to join the raffle. Neither is he requiring these people to vote for Donald Trump, mind you. To be specific, Elon Musk is awarding cash to registered voters in 7 swing states who sign an online petition expressing support for the Constitution's protection of the freedom of speech and the right to bear arms. Now, again, not to vote for Donald Trump nor Republicans. America PAC has also gotten support from some other big names on Wall Street, including Palantir co-founder Joe Lonsdale and the Winklevoss twins. But nope, no dice for Democrats. For the Philadelphia DA, it's this illegal lottery scheme to influence voters in that election. Now, honestly, they're just worried that Elon Musk's giveaway will actually excite conservatives in the states where polling is essentially tied between Trump and his foe, Democratic Vice President Kamala Harris. Now, it's obvious enough, considering that it was the Joe Biden-Harris Justice Department that first reportedly warned Elon Musk that his daily $1 million raffle could violate a federal law that prohibits paying people to register to vote. But the feds really haven't taken any action to stop it. So yeah, it looks like they're now resorting to the lawfare tactics again. No surprise here, and this time it's the Tesla CEO that they're targeting, considering that he's doing his part to rev up swing state voters in key states of Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. What? Democrats are now suddenly afraid of people showing up to vote, and it's 100% legit? That's right, guys. The top prize of $1 million has already gone to 9 people, 4 in Pennsylvania and 1 apiece in Michigan, Arizona, Nevada, North Carolina, and Wisconsin, according to America PAC's website. And so far, they're still planning to announce another winner each day ahead of the 2024 November 5th election. Now, on top of that, guys, everybody gets something, as Elon Musk's initiative is offering $47 for petition signers who refer additional registered voters to sign the petition, plus a $100 bonus for signers who are from Pennsylvania. And yet, like the party poopers that they are, Democrats, they want to stop all the fun and stop the gravy train from stopping by. Dude, the Dems are straight up hating on this guy, and they're hating on the recipients of this money. What do you guys think? Drop me a quick yes in the comments down below. Hit the like button down below to also show your support and to help get this message out to even more like-minded people. And if you haven't already, I highly recommend subscribing to the channel and tapping that notification bell. All right, guys? That way you can be officially a part of the YouTube community and also to help get the truth out to even more freedom-loving Americans. All right? Sound good? Great. So now we need to talk about this blowout news of Donald Trump media, guys. Pardon the pun, guys. Trump's the estimated value of Elon Musk's X, as election day is just around the corner. So what I did there? Now, specifically, Donald Trump's media and technology group with the ticker symbol DJT is now valued at over $10 billion after its shares more than quadrupled since late September. I mean, we're talking about Apple, Amazon, Microsoft numbers here, guys. Meanwhile, X Holdings, which has been taken private 2 years ago, is valued at around $9.4 billion, based on the most recent value that the investment group Fidelity assigned to its stake in the company. Now, seriously, guys, in one day, Truth Social's stock rose almost 9% to $34.17. Now, speaking of supporters, Kamala Harris was recently heard talking about her huge problems in this campaign. Now, guys, I covered this in a previous video that you need to watch after this one. She literally gets caught on a hot mic talking about it. But as always, appreciate you guys being here. Thank you for hitting the like button and subscribing. Check out this video coming up here next, and I'll see you guys on the next one.